Wait, where am I? What's up, everybody? Jay Miller here. This is the Pitch Show. This is the first episode of the new season. I'm super stoked. I wanted to welcome everybody that's watching over on YouTube. If you like this, be sure to subscribe and give it a thumbs up and all that good stuff. For those on the podcast, we're not going anywhere. We're still here. And of course, as always, there's going to be a new format. Just me talking about my thoughts. If you wanted the interviews, don't worry, they're going to be coming back in the future, but probably under a different project name. But let's jump into this week's topic. First, let's define the problem here. So lately I've been streaming on Twitch. If you want to see that, go over to twitch.tv/KJYMiller. I don't really have a Twitch schedule. It's mostly me streaming code, writing documentation, hoping that someone will join me and maybe rubber duck for me, or at least help me answer some questions that I might have. But in that time, I kept running into this problem where I would be testing my documentation, which means I would be viewing it in a browser, but all of the viewers of the stream were just seeing the code. They weren't seeing the actual browser being rendered, or vice versa. I might be focused on making updates to the code, and all of my viewers were left staring at a browser. Oh man, I forgot. As I'm over here just playing around with content, no one can see it because they're looking at my notes here. So how do you fix that? Well, very, very complicated ways of fixing that is in fact what I tried to do. So the first thing that I tried to do was to toggle the visibility of the screen that I was working on. So basically every time I switched, it would get the state and it would switch it again. I have a Stream Deck. Stream Decks are kind of the big deal, I guess, these days, but at the end of it, I wanted to figure out how I could hook my Stream Deck into automatically switching based on what screen I had open. Well, I played around with that for a little bit. That didn't really work. So moving on. Well, my next thought was to jump over to Keyboard Maestro, another amazing power tool in the world of automation. So basically, I decided that I would use Keyboard Maestro to grab the state of the images every time I switched to see, okay, if it showed the lock open, then that meant that I wasn't active, and then if I showed the lock closed, that meant that it was, or not even the lock, it was the eyeball. See, this is how complicated this process got. I can't even explain it properly. That didn't work. What did I do in the end? All I did was assign hotkeys to different scenes, one that was just the browser, one that was just my coding terminal, and then I could quickly just flip back and forth using Keyboard Maestro. So if OBS was open, which is what I used for my streaming, and then I open Safari, then trigger the shortcut to switch to OBS really quick, activate the hotkey, and then switch back into whatever window I wanted. So Safari or my terminal window. Basically duplicate that for the other setting, and then change the hotkey, and then cancel all future macros or all running macros at that point, because one thing I forgot was if I keep jumping back to the original application, I'm going to be in a loop, and nobody wants to be in a loop, right? But that whole process took about 10 minutes to implement, and it worked. It was easy, and it didn't make my brain explode. So I wanted to ask, what makes us want to jump from, level 1 automation, hey, when this thing happens, trigger a hotkey, instead of going that route, the keep it simple route, why do we want to jump to finding the state of images to update and modify our code? I don't know, but I do it a lot, and I want to figure out why, because it's annoying. But what did I learn from this? At the end of the day, I didn't need anything other than Keyboard Maestro and the settings menu in OBS. That was it. So I don't know why in my head I was like, come on, make all this magic happen. But I will often say, in many cases, it's the simplest tool that gets the job done. And I'll talk about that in just a second a little bit more. But the other thing that I learned, sometimes you need the right solution for the problem at hand. And the topic for the future episode would be like identifying the right problem and how you solve that. But in this case, I want to talk mostly about the solution. The cool thing about how I implemented this solution is that I don't have to rely on Keyboard Maestro to get the same effect. If I would have gone with the crazy image recognition route, that only works if I have Keyboard Maestro installed, which means if I want to share this tool with someone else, I have to assume that they have Keyboard Maestro installed. But now all I'm doing is auto triggering a hotkey. That can be done with a plethora of tools. I can use Alfred for that. I can use Launchbar for that. I can use, again, Keyboard Maestro. I could probably even use tools like Text Expander where you type a command in and it triggers the hotkey. I can use my Stream Deck, which was the tool that I wanted to use this whole time. So that was my solution. That was the solution to the problem. If you like this, be sure to like, subscribe, do all those good things. Leave me a comment. Tell me about like one of the dumbest automations you made that over complicated a very simple problem to solve and what you wound up doing in the end. But that's going to do it for this week. I've been Jay Miller. This has been The Pit Show. Until next week, I don't know, keep doing you, I guess.